Pro wrestling talk from the four corners of parts unknown. This is That Wrestling Podcast.
We are the League of Ordinary Gentlemen. It is That Wrestling Podcast. And this is going to be the all-out preview. One would say we are all in on All Out. There's a few other notable items to talk about. But first, we need to check on Brian to see how he's holding up after my revenge that was so sweet. And it proved that Brian is not a great guy.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Brian?
I'm okay. It was well played by you. A tip of a cap if I was wearing one. I mean, the way I see it, we're 1-1, right? You know, I kicked things off with Matt Cardona. You got me right back with Pete. So one of these days, we're going to see who wins the third fall of the 2 out of 3 fall match.
Yeah, but I'm like way up here one, and you're like here one.
I'm the originator, brother.
Because I heard your feelings because it's a guy that you really liked.
I know, but there was something about having Cardona, who you've been dogging on for a decade more, throw it at you first, man.
I feel like
going to the
Brian's
third
just
fall.
a little bit higher. Just
someone
that you hate.
Nobody asked you,
hey,
Joe.
You wanted it. You didn't
No,
ask.
I didn't.
I'm
Nobody
giving my
asked
opinion
you.
anyway. I'm giving my opinion anyway.
In me, my personal opinion, you guys are solid even.
Kevin,
you guys are
big
solid
shocker.
even.
You're not taking a side.
Nope,
Yeah,
I'm not
really.
taking a side.
Wow.
I'm not taking a side because I look forward to who makes the next move.
That's right.
To go up 2-1.
That's right.
That's what's exciting.
Crafty game
Both
of chess.
I will say this: kudos to both of you. You guys both got some incredible, I would say, middle fingers up to each other in playful ways, friendly ways.
Yeah,
I'll take
well, now that we know that Brian's okay, hit the music.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing today?
The weekly fashion check of 4 40-year-old men and what wrestling shirts they're wearing while filming a wrestling podcast. It is What Are You Wearing? And we will start with you, Joe. What are you wearing?
I'm going old school, the 2000 Triple H basketball jersey that has his old logo in the front and the game on the back.
Isn't that your wife's?
Oh
No, she wears it all the time. She wears it all
you wear
the
women's
time.
clothing?
I have never seen you wear that. I've only seen your wife, Jessica, wear that
Well, because
at least 10 times.
Kevin, I don't wear it because it would be gimmick infringement because you're the guy who doesn't wear sleeves. So I'm kind of stealing your thunder right now. But with the things that are going on with him, it's the only Triple H shirt I own. So I have to give some respect to the game because no one else is.
The
It's
basketball
terrorizing.
jersey.
I'll say it.
Jersey. That's when he was on the 2000 Dream Team, wasn't it?
Yes, he
I
was.
remember correctly. That's right. That was a good squad.
Fun. So I got
Him and Vin Baker.
Vin Baker shout out. I love it.
Wow. Who would have thought? Nobody saw that
Oh
coming.
my.
So I have the Junkyard Dog Shirt from the Wale SummerSlam collection. It was available at Foot Locker and Foot Action. You can still pick them up online. It was the Legend series. So there was Junkyard Dog, Perfect, Savage, Warrior, a very cool Ted DiBiase shirt, T-shirts, and they're calling them sweaters. They're just sweatshirts, but you can pick them up online still at Foot Locker. Kevin, what do you have?
Continue my collection from the Vegas trip that you and I went on. I am a younger brother. I'm rocking out a younger brother on my shirt. I am wearing an official Owen Hart King of Hearts shirt. It's like a classic,
Beautiful.
everything. And I'm going to turn around slow. It has like all of his like
Stats.
lifetime stats. It's like Slammy Award winner, all of his titles. And it's a long list. I saw this and this was the first shirt that I picked up. Last week I talked about the WWF tank, right? That I picked up of the old school logo. This is the first thing that caught my eye. And I saw it and I was like, do you got a large? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, take my money. And it's amazing. I came home. This was the first piece of clothing because I came home with like shit, a lot, right? And I'm unpacking my suitcase and I showed my wife and my wife's like, that might be one of the best shirts you have. And I'm like, You are a good woman. I appreciate that. Bri?
And Kevin, I would like to thank you for standing up and wearing pants. Let's
Oh,
give
yeah,
him a round of
that'd be
applause
cool.
that he kept
Yeah.
pants on.
Nope.
I
lied.
No.
Shorts on.
All right, Brian, wrap it up.
You know what I've always enjoyed? When you go grocery shopping and you're in the cereal aisle and you get to the cereals that are the generic knockoffs of the name brand cereals, like the Meyer brand Frosted Flakers and Magical Stars, not Lucky Charms. Well, we had an incident in the wrestling world this week that reminded me of that. And I shared this with you guys. Hulk Hogan in India. So if you're watching the YouTube, there's the India paper has this whole story about this guy who's calling himself Hulk Hogan, and he's this big dude. He's got the mustache and the Fu Manchu, he got the bandana, but it's clearly not Hulk Hogan. So that made me think of those cereal boxes that I love that are just the knockoff. So I'm wearing my actual Hulkamania shirt in tribute. Hulk did not reply. If you guys can see, I tweeted Hulk with
Who dis? New
It's
phone.
you. Yeah, new phone, who dis Hulk. So hopefully his India tour is going really well. I'm sure he'll take on the winner of Great Khali and Jinder Mahal.
That is funny. I thought you were going with a knockoff T-shirt, like a bootleg, but whatever. It's all good.
Yeah.
Real quick catch up from last week. The most popular beer in Australia is something called VB Bitter. Our Aussie in the field also said that he does not know if Foster's actually exists in Australia. He's never seen it.
Wow.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
That's awesome. Boots on the ground in Australia. That's great.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, word come out that NXT was going to be going through some changes and that they were essentially going back to a developmental from the world's greatest indie. Now AEW is going to be the world's greatest indie. And some of the things that have come out about what this new rebranding of NXT is going to be, nobody over 30, nobody under 6 feet tall, and no indie cred wrestlers are going to be at NXT moving forward. Last week, we had got the first view of the new logo. And when I saw it, I just thought it was like NXT Tuesday. It looked like it could be a Nickelodeon show. Now, I'm not pissing over anything yet. I want to give it a chance, but the initial look of it, I mean, it's bright colors. It looked like it could be on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. Now, this week, reports come out that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard will be producing the new NXT, and that starts September 14th, which is a week and a half from now. And, quote, they will make the big decisions, not the little ones, and will be behind marketing, promotion, and direction. And that's from Dave Meltzer, close quote. No word on Triple H, Matt Bloom, or HBK's role. And just to clear it up, you idiots online, Triple H, Paul Levesque terrorizing is not all elite. So stop posting that shit. It's not true. Brian, thoughts on the logo, the Vince Bruce news? What do you think about everything going on so far in NXT?
Yeah, the logo, you said it best. It definitely had a kid feel. I did when we were texting when the news broke about it. Joe and I agreed that it reminded me of the opening of Dynamite with all the color flashes. So I thought it had a little nod to that. And as far as what happens in the future, listen, I'll be open-minded. It does worry me. For me, I think I've shared NXT has been my favorite brand for a long time. NXT, they have their highest of highs, but they've never had lowest of lows. I've never walked away from NXT episode going, wow, that sucked. What a crappy episode. I've always enjoyed it, to either, above average to excellent level when it comes to the takeover. So I'm a little worried. Some of the logic of the younger wrestlers, that part I get, but I'm crossing my fingers and gritting my teeth going, please don't mess up my favorite show.
Kevin?
It's really tricky. So when I always ranked Monday Night Raw was my number one. And this was before AEW moved nights, or NXT moved in AEW on separate nights. Raw was always my number one. I always really enjoyed SmackDown. NXT was number 3, and then AEW. Slowly, and it kind of shifted, right? But Raw doesn't compete, and I think SmackDown's on in its own night. So it's always been like NXT, AEW for me. And it always was like, when it was both on the same night, I would watch NXT, and I would always DVR AEW. And then it slowly became even, and then it switched nights. Now I'm slowly watching myself DVRing NXT or fast forwarding it all. Like, not that it's bad, but just so much more is becoming more entertaining to me. I fear that NXT is going to get kind of stale. It's going to get kind of weird. You know, you're not looking for, Jay, as you said, like the indie studs, or, you know what I mean? You're not just going to hire an indie stud and go right to SmackDown or Raw. That's the biggest thing. You want to hone them in on their talent on NXT to get them prepared for, you know, the prep life of the main roster. I fear for the show. I really do. I think Vince, how old is Vince? 75?
I think so.
Yeah.
You remember
he's up there. Yep.
How many years ago was it when Shane, Triple H, Vince, and Stephanie went in that ring and said, we're going to give you guys what you want. We're going to give you guys everything for all shows, right? Everything.
Yeah, like
You're the authority.
Now the logo looks like Dude Loves logo.
Which
like,
you almost spent $500 on that shirt last week.
Which I'm not complaining about, but like for the grittiness of NXT, right? It's not like just clean cut. You know, they do things a little bit different. It's always been kind of like a little rough around the edges. It looks like very colorful. It's not like aggressive. Are they going to get rid of the skull? Are they? Poppy's probably gone.
Yeah, everything.
Right? Or Poppy has to be like Justin Bieber. Is Justin Bieber going to be for every single takeover now for the music? I feel like it's taken a direction. I don't know. I'll say this. I'll stay positive until it goes down the deep end. But I kind of fear of what it's going to go, knowing that Bruce and Vince are going to be at the helm, unless Triple H and Shawn Michaels will then turn to their sole, I'll say, attention to Raw, maybe to improve that. That'd be cool. But I fear for NXT for a short while.
Kevin, you blew it. I thought you were going to say Triple H and HBK were going to turn to their blood, their friends.
And what's X-Pac doing? He has a new podcast. He did commentary on a GCW show a couple months ago. He's around. And he gets those residual checks from DX and NWO. So good for him. I'm gonna say that I am excited for the change. I think it could be fun. Everybody just assumes it's going to go to shit. And I'm not one of those people. Yeah, the logo is going to change. The color is going to change. And, you know, as long as it doesn't go back to a game show, I think we're fine. You know, the real question is, if it is just going back to a developmental, did USA sign on for a developmental program? Question mark.
Yeah, see, that's like my point too, because they signed on for live WWE content. They didn't sign on for whatever, like Jason, you said it earlier. No one under 6 foot tall, say bye to half that roster. No one under 30, say goodbye to those two. That six pack's looking a little bit more likely now, and I'm not exactly happy about that. I really don't want it. So here's what I'm saying. Even if you win,
I won't buy it anyway. So
I know you won't. I was about to say, even if I win, I won't buy it. I won't want it, but now I do. My point is, I'm like you. I'm going to give it a chance. But
which is weird because you hate everything.
No, I don't. I just don't like Raw.
You are turning a corner.
Is this a face turn? Positive. Is this a face turn for Joe?
All I'm saying is that sleeveless tee is going wonders on you.
I'm feeling more fresh, more airy, more lighter. And no, in reality, but in all seriousness, I haven't watched NXT in the last 2 weeks because I know they're changing. I don't want to get invested in these storylines that mean nothing. It's like when you know a show that you're watching is getting canceled, but they still run the last 3 episodes. What's the point? Oh, we ended on a cliffhanger. I don't care. You're not coming back. So all the things that are going on right now, I feel bad, but my Tuesdays have been free of wrestling for the past 3 weeks.
And one last take on this before we move on. A lot of people are like, oh, they're not going to create superstars. They're going to create superstars. That's exactly what the point of this is.
Mm-hmm.
Vince wants the big guys. They want the people they can start from scratch, make them the superstars they want them to be. And all the people are like, oh, we're never going to get another Daniel Bryan or CM Punk. Yeah, you will, because WWE created CM Punk. They created Daniel Bryan. They created Bray Wyatt. They created all the superstars because that's what they do. So chill out. September 14th, the new NXT will debut, and I am sure we will talk about that on many a future podcast. So in the past, we've had Tuesday in Texas, and now we might have 2 nights in Texas, as WrestleMania is rumored to be 2 nights, April 3rd and 4th, 2022. And if you're listening to this on Friday, and in case you were wondering, that is 211 days away. Now, if you go back to the archives of this show, I think it was our second show, literally. We did a WrestleMania wrap-up of the 2-night WrestleMania in Tampa. And I feel that if you go back to that show, listen to it, and then fast forward to this show, I think a lot of our attitudes are going to be the same about the 2-night WrestleMania. I feel that you will never get 2 nights that are equal. Someone will shit all over one or whatever. And then the argument will turn into, whoa, why do I have to buy 2 nights of, oh, wait, I got to buy 2 nights because my kid wants to see one person and I don't know when they're going to be on, that type of stuff. Brian, what do you think of the 2-night WrestleMania for Dallas?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for it is I think people will walk away happy if it ends on the highest of notes of the 2 nights.
Okay.
Wrestling, the card always should build to the finale, to the main event. And we walked away from night 1, and there was so much that went into it. There was the rain and everything that happened, and Bianca and Sasha were so great. And we were all like pumped, because we thought on paper, night 2 looked even better. And it didn't get to the level of night 1. And so I think we all kind of felt like, maybe this isn't great. But I also tried to think about, well, if you flip the 2 nights, would we be going, you know what? The 2 nights worked because what a great ending. So I'm really torn on this one. I think it was the right move to give it a shot again. AT&T Stadium.
With 100,000 people,
exactly.
Full crowd.
Yep, full crowd, 2 nights. Try it out one more time, and then I think after this one, we'll know yay or nay moving forward. So I think it's the right move for this year, but we'll have to see.
Joe?
I'm excited about it for the simple fact that my work that Monday is a freeze. No one's allowed to take the day off. So if I do go, I'll go Saturday and then fly back home Sunday. So when I heard that story that it may be 2 nights, I was selfish and went, cool, I can at least make 1 night.
That's something. Yeah.
That's something. And plus I enjoyed it because I don't like the WrestleManias that last too long. It's exhausting to watch it for 6 to 7 hours. So having it 2 nights spread apart, no, I'm okay with that. Anything spread apart.
Whoa! Wow!
Oh,
anything?
Whoa!
You were good the first one, and then you went really deep in that second one. Wow!
Oh,
it's the sleeves. I think Kevin is pull out of those.
Kevin, what do you think of 2 nights?
I will say this: Joe's down for 1 night. I look forward to both. I will say this: this is make or break on the 2-night Mania. They're going all in, 100,000 plus people. If they can make 2 nights, great. Keep it at 2 nights. If it fails 2 nights and 1 night is way above the other, maybe look at making the other. SummerSlam was what, 4.5 hours? And it felt so quick. If you make a WrestleMania 5.5, start a little bit earlier, it could kind of go like that versus not drag out. I will say this, though. I think they hit a little bit of a sweet spot with that women's title match where Tamina and Natalia won the night one and tied it into night two. If they do something like that, not saying the women's titles, but do something like that to kind of merge the nights together and make it a little exciting, it could kind of tie. It could be, how can I put it? I'll even say it, tie the nights together. But Brian, you mentioned Sasha, Bianca. If it could have been on night two versus night one, they had something magic. Night one, you couldn't recreate that even if it was night two. It was right there. It was the chemistry between them. I will say this: they will go balls out to make both nights amazing. If it's going to be such a large place, the view, the camera pans, it's just going to be loaded with people. They are either going to make or break the 2-night Mania in Dallas or Arlington next year. And Jay, I'm down. Let's plan.
I was at 32. It was awesome. I will go. Like I said, the plan is for both nights. Hopefully we can do a show thing. Joe, if you have to buy 2 nights, you got to buy 2 nights, and we'll find someone to get that. We'll find a seat filler if you can't be there on night number 2. And the big close on this is simple. And Joe, you said, I remember this, like you said it yesterday, not everybody needs to be on WrestleMania. Only the best of the best. So we'll find out as things go. As we get, move on towards April of 2022. So Dynamite was on Wednesday night, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. I'm losing interest in Dynamite.
What?
I thought
it was damn good this week.
Every match had a beatdown. Someone's music hit and then come out and made the save.
You did
that
tweet
actually
that.
is true. That is true. That is true.
And then let's play some Jeopardy. The answer is yes. The question is, am I? Yeah. Well, no. That.
Are you excited? Anna Jay is back.
No.
100 points for me.
The answer is yes. I am sick of seeing CM Punk.
No. I got goosebumps during that.
He did
during
call
that
you
segment.
out on Wednesday. He said there's going to be some people who are going to get sick of me, and most people would probably assume it would be Negative Joe, but it's Jason. But Jason, I do agree with you on what you tweeted because my wife and I were watching, and when you said, how does he still have it? He hasn't wrestled a match in 7 years.
Yes,
and when they were chanting that, I went, but he has what? He hasn't even done anything.
But once they chanted it, he paused and he went he kind of went sideways,
I know he was in episode 3 of Heels playing Ricky Rabies, but that doesn't count, Marks.
Did you like it? Did you see it?
Yeah, Heels is outstanding. You guys should all subscribe to Stars and watch Heels. It's so good. And Ricky Rabies was a fun character. And that literally, Joe, that's the next thing I have. How can you idiots in Chicago chant? You still got it when the guy hasn't wrestled in 7 years. That episode almost made me go to sleep. Brian?
Womp, womp. All right, so it's Chicago. It's CM Punk's town. I'm gonna let that slide. I'm getting a little bit of a thread though from what you're saying, Jay, about am I getting sick of CM Punk? And it's not so much him, but it's so much the AEW promotion. We had the first dance, right? Everybody knew, but it wasn't said, but everybody knew. And then it was Wednesday. It'll be the first time you'll hear from CM Punk on Dynamite. Last Friday, CM Punk will be speaking on Rampage. And then it was, again, this past Wednesday, 2 days ago, CM Punk will be live to talk, so I was like,
CM Punk is next.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know this. CM Punk and Darby Allin at All Out on Sunday. They only aired that graphic 7 times on Wednesday night.
Brian, you're a Simpsons guy. Is it not reminding you of Where's Poochie? People should be going, Where's Poochie?
Yeah, it's just it's been a little much for me, little much.
I'm
still excited for Sunday. Don't get me wrong. Excited to see what happens moving forward, but maybe it's just because it's Wednesday, Friday now. And it's just been so much of CM Punk's going to be here. He's going to talk. CM Punk's going to be here. He's going to talk. It's like, okay.
But how many weeks have we waited for him to come back?
7 years, apparently.
7 years.
They've
7 years.
mentioned
Let the
that
guy come
every
on
15
2
minutes.
weeks. Let him come on 3-4
I
times
want to.
and hype up the pay-per-view. Me personally, from this past Dynamite, 2.0 came out. It's great. Those guys have been looking great since they got dumped by NXT and came on board. Great promos, look great in the ring. It was great. The beatdown, understand it. Darby comes down. Perfect. I'm a huge Darby guy. Sting talking on the microphone, kind of weird at times, but mucho respect. I think it was
Mucho
respect.
respecto.
But like Darby hitting the coffin drop, Scorpion death drop, the go to sleep. Like, I will say this: every time CM Punk has come on, I have gotten goosebumps, and I always look at my arm. And next time, I will take a damn photo to prove it to you guys. I love it every time. Maybe because
We're
I've
going to
just
see you on Sunday.
well, God damn it!
gonna
I'm going to
you
tell
don't
you
have
guys
to-
in person. I'm going to go this. I'm going to do
We're
this.
not going to take pictures.
with you in the background with my goosebumps.
Like,
I enjoy it every time.
Jason's
Cult's
just flipping off
personality.
the camera.
Every time Cult's personality comes down on, I raise my hand.
I'm
get
just
excited.
happy that he goes on, that he's first. They get it out of the way so we can enjoy the rest of the show.
could you
And
glad
not
it's
like
like
the top of the hour.
That's
That's a good
imagine
call.
Glad
That's
they
a
get
good
it out of
call.
the way.
That's a good call.
14 segments of CM Punk coming up later tonight.
Right.
Next hour, it's CM Punk. Let's go to this video package of CM Punk. Like, honestly,
Did you know he bought the ice cream bars?
And they're selling them. Did you see they were
last night,
sold them?
Wednesday night, Friday night, and Sunday night as well. They're going to sell them.
It's been 7 years, Jason. It's been 7 years.
80% of the all proceeds go to CM Punk.
Well, yes, I am getting sick of seeing CM Punk, and I thought Dynamite was not so good. So brought up the pay-per-view on Sunday, All Out. We are all going to Brian's house. Be the first time in a year and a half we've all been in the same room together. It is the All In on All Out preview. We don't have music? We don't have music. I thought we were going to have music for this, but what do you mean? Whatever. It's not the same, Kevin. All right, so we'll start with the 21 Women Casino Battle Royale. Of course, if you don't know, they separate the groups of women into groups of 5, each as a different hearts, spades, jacks, and whatever the other diamonds on the cards. They're all set up. And then there's one joker. And usually the joker is when someone makes a debut. Brian Cage was the joker the 1 year. Hangman Page was one the first year. And it looks like Ruby Soho will be making her AEW debut, a.k.a. Ruby Riott. I feel like she will be the joker. Kevin, any other surprises you think will happen in the Casino Battle Royale?
I think Anna Jay, she just returned back. I think she's a strong favorite. I think in my eyes to maybe get far, but like you said, formerly Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho, I feel like she's going to win. And especially since Britt Baker just went on and was very cocky, $1 million, Britt's $1 million, right? And she's like, I just signed $1 million or a multi-year deal. Tony Khan, I'm his golden girl. Like, I feel like they need some good competitors to line up. And honestly, the women's division is greatly improved. Ruby would be a great competitor right off the bat. And honestly, I don't see her going anywhere except for right after that belt.
Do you think Britt saying that means that Betty White's going to show up in the Casino Battle Royale? Is that like a hint? Like the CM Punk saying you have to wait a little more for Daniel Bryan? Like maybe Betty White's going to show up. Joe, any other debuts you think will happen? And who do you think will win the women's Casino Battle Royale?
I think it's going to be Ruby Soho, but I think it's going to be like a debut, but a re-debut. I have a feeling Chelsea Green's going to be in the Battle Royal. She was at the first All In Chicago. She's been she was on the NWA Empower, yeah. Mm-hmm. And she won that. She's been all over the place lately. I could see her being part of the Battle Royal, not winning it, but I have a feeling that Chelsea Green's going to make it a re-debut with AEW, not full time, but well,
she's been in Impact with her boyfriend Mark Cardona, so I mean They're doing like mixed
they
tag
have a
stuff.
working-
So I mean, why not? Maybe that will happen. Brian, I know you've been counting down the days for the Paul White QT Marshall match.
You couldn't pay me enough to care about this match. I'm so
You mean
sorry.
Big Show, Jim Ross?
It's
Jim Ross calling him, Big
twice.
Show's got hip surgery.
yeah.
But Brian, do you care more about this match or Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie?
I think
shit.
Alexa.
Shut your mouth.
Because
Shut your mouth.
I appreciate Alexa's ability to be such a character, and I love, but I don't want to see Paul White. I've never gotten into QT Marshall. He is just like homeless bum off the street to me, man.
Cody's friend. It's Cody's friend.
Cody's friend, exactly. I'm sorry.
But Brian,
that's definitely the beer run, the bathroom break. I hope it's a Paul White choke slam like Becky did to Bianca at SummerSlam. And
Here's what
Billy Gunn turned on him and no one.
Exactly.
Why?
So here's
What
what
year
I
is
have.
it?
So here's what I have in my notes, Brian.
Yeah.
Most likely, my beer run, bathroom break, go
Yep.
throw sweats on because we're sitting outside on your deck in Michigan in September and it'll be cold match.
Yep.
Most likely, Paul White will win. But
By the way, I used to live in Michigan. I live in parts unknown now, just so you know. I'll give you my new address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving
Brian,
on.
how's
No
the weather
selling
in
it.
parts unknown this week?
No selling it. Nice job.
Well,
It's
Kevin
still
talked
real to
about-
him, damn it.
Kevin talked about the Indianapolis airport last week, so whatever.
That's
I thought we
true.
were past
That's
that.
Oh, I drove 14 hours from parts unknown to go to Indianapolis Airport, so it's okay. I'm playing
Northern Missouri or something.
playing the gimmick.
Oh,
here.
we're doing that now. Oh, Kyle.
Anyway.
Okay, so next up, John Moxley against Kojima. I don't know much about Kojima, and I know you guys don't really know much about New Japan, but any chance to blast Wild Thing works for me. I love Mox's theme song. I've become more of a fan of him because I love the song. I loved it when it was in Major League. I listen to it all the time on Spotify. I think Mox will win. It'll set up the U.S. title match against Tanahashi, probably in New Japan. And since you guys, like I said, not in the New Japan, we will just move on. So, Joe, what do you think is going to happen? Eddie Kingston and Miro for the AEW TNT title match.
To quote Clubber Lang, pain. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be awesome. That, you know how I said last week, you always got the one match that has the potential to like steal the show, and it's not the main event because that's always expected to be the best one. I think this is going to be the match that's going to be talked about the most. I really have a good feeling about this because Miro has been amazing since he's become the TNT champion, and Eddie Kingston could just sell ice to an Eskimo. Seriously, his promos and his way of getting into a match. I'm a big fan of both guys. I think this is going to be my favorite match of the night.
Brian?
I'm with you, Joe, because for me, all that you said, that was what I was thinking for Andrade versus Pac. That's what I was slotted in for that match. I thought that could be a 4-star insane match that unfortunately appears to be off. So I'm going to slide into what you're saying and say that Eddie and Miro could take the place. I think Miro wins. Eddie's not a guy that needs a title. He's just got such great fan support that he can take a loss and not have any sort of effect. And the Miro train rolls on.
The match that I think will be the match of the night is the AEW tag title match. Young Bucks and Lucha Bros, and it's in a steel cage. I was at the first one at the first All In, and it was awesome. I'm going to brag. I was sitting in the 4th row, and it was awesome to see it live. I think this is going to be the match of the night, and I do think maybe it's time the Bucks drop the titles. I think maybe this begins a little bit of a downfall for the Super Elite. Maybe a new debuting Adam Cole helps bring them back. Like I said, with Kenny Omega starting to lose his titles, but we'll get into that a little later. Kevin, thoughts on the Bucks and Lucha Bros?
I think that match could be match of the night. I feel like it's just going to be back and forth, especially, I don't know if it was Matt or Nick that like literally went back and forth doing the super kicks while, was that Penta or Ray?
Well, both of them.
Both. Well, yeah, okay. Good call. But I mean, just like he went over, did super kick, flipped his body around, super kick. And it was just like, I think, was it Kenny Omega was like, Matt, calm down. Let's get Christian. Like the Miro, Eddie, that promo was fire that they had on Dynamite. Like I thought it was, yeah, the kids call it slapped. Right, Brian? Slaps.
That's right. All the kids are saying like nowadays.
That tag match, I feel like that could be amazing. And we were at was it All In Chicago? What event were we in when we all hung out last? Revolution. Sounds about right. That was my first time seeing the Bucks, and that match was absolutely amazing. This match coming up on Sunday, I feel it could be just as good. I feel like it's going to be great because Penta and Ray, they're always so good. And Matt and Nick, I don't think I've ever seen a bad match from those guys. So that tag match is going to be great.
The women's title, Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, Brian.
This may be my runner-up for the don't care. No, I'll be a little nicer on this one. Statlander's fine. You know, she's come back from injury and they've built her up a little bit. Another one, I don't think Britt's gonna, drop it anytime soon. I'll be interested to see how the crowd goes because again, they're still in this weird that doesn't make sense to me of Britt's the heel, but everybody crowd reaction wise loves her, loves doing the DMD. So it's a button that I can't quite wrap my head around. But we'll see. It has potential to be a good match, I think.
So, Kevin, if she defends, will you actually buy the Britt Baker shirt this time?
I'll tell you this.
If Pro Wrestling Tees is having the Labor Day sale this weekend.
If Britt wins, I'll tell you this. I will have a T-shirt in a shopping cart on ProWrestlingTees.com, and I'll let one of you three. I'll let one of you three press the checkout button.
Well, you got to put the code in and all your payment information. And
I'm cheap as hell. I'm going to get that 20% off.
Do you think Britt's going to win?
100%. Unfortunately, I saw her the very first time at Revolution, and she got hurt. She came back and she was like in the Crane game, and now she's just with Orange Cassidy's little crew. Fun. Like, she looks great. Like, I feel like she got a lot more athletic and she looks great. It's just no one's going to defeat Britt. It's just Britt's so good on the mic, in the ring. Like another time maybe, but 5 minutes and done. It shouldn't go anything more.
All right. Chris Jericho and MJF. If Jericho loses, he is done as a wrestler, will be a commentator full time. I'm going to go with Jericho, but I could easily see MJF winning this because Fozzie's getting ready to go on tour. I'm actually going to see them next weekend in Pittsburgh. So, it could go either way, but the stipulation makes me think it has to be Jericho, but maybe he gets hurt and then down the road comes back and they redo the feud. Because as much as I love Jericho and Excalibur as the next Heenan and Monsoon for the next 20 years on AEW, even though I think AEW is only going to be around 5 years, but that's another story for another time. I'm gonna go with Jericho. Joe?
Same stipulation with you, Jason. I'm going to go with Jericho, but I'm going to go Jericho wins, kind of like when Shawn Michaels won his comeback match at SummerSlam in 2002. And then Triple H, the dastardly heel that he was, hit him in the back with the sledgehammer and chair and got him off the shelf. And that's how Jericho can, go do Fozzy, go do the cruise. And MJF can still keep his uber heat of, I retired Jericho even without winning the match.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That is really, really good. Now the match that I don't give two shits about, the AEW Championship, Kenny Omega and Christian Cage. Kevin?
Oh.
Wow. I just said I don't care. You're actually falling asleep.
They fought a couple weeks ago for the Impact title. I feel like I've already kind of seen this match. And unfortunately, Kenny has blue hair now.
What?
I thought it was black.
I thought it was.
Was it black?
Like
I thought it was
black, blue. Yeah.
Bluish.
He did the beard too, right?
Christian's always been one of those guys when he's with Edge. I love him. When he's solo, I like him. I do. But I feel like if they just wasted it a few weeks ago, I'm just not excited. I don't. I'm not excited at all. I think Kenny retains. I think it'll be an okay match. I think it's going to go way too long. And I'm usually not negative on things, but I think it's going to go more. I think it's going to go longer than it should.
With AEW.
It's going to go longer than it should. Kenny retains and get me to that CM Punk Darby. Is CM Punk Darby, do you think will be the main event or will it be last or not?
I think it has to.
I'm bringing it up last for this because of our format. And I'm pissed I made that negative joke because I'd had a great transition of speaking of negative. Joe, what do you think of the title match?
I agree with Kevin. We just saw it on Rampage, and Christian we all know he's a fill-in because of Hangman having his first kid or something like that. And because
I didn't know that. I didn't know that backstory.
Oh
that's been
that's like his wife was expecting the child around this time. I don't know if they had it or not, but like that was the backstory.
Oh, I'm sure they'll tell you. They'll have a birth announcement, and Tony Khan will have a camera crew in the room, like looking right down as the kid pops out.
Well, no, you didn't see the reality
this live
show?
birth brought to you by GoPro.
You didn't see the reality show hanging around with Hangman and family? Yeah.
No, it's brought to you by
Road
Arby's.
to the top.
Yep.
It's brought to you by Arby's.
I think this is a match that should. Yeah.
Let's go 30 seconds commercial. Back to CM Punk.
I think this is a match that just should have been on Dynamite. As much as I love Christian, it's just he's not going to win. So
he's not going to be the belt collector. Like, just let it go. You know, I don't know. Do you think so? Obviously, we're recording this on Thursday. We don't know what's going to happen on Rampage tonight. Do you think there's a chance Cage is not even in the match against Kenny Omega? A surprise fill-in? A debut, perhaps?
As in D-Bry?
Brian Danielson. Get it right. Adam Cole.
Daniel Bryanson.
D-Bry? Yeah, Daniel Bryanson.
I don't think so. But
you think Cage, I mean, if they're going to do a fill, if Cage is hurt, that would be a hell of a way to debut somebody, regardless of who it is.
Well, then that will spark the interest up 100% compared to where we're all
so
at
what
now.
if they have him and then right after that, I'm sure he's not going to be Bray Wyatt, but then it's a triple threat. How crazy would that be then?
I don't know if enough time has expired yet. So I think Bray will be
maybe,
I think they do it November. Maybe I think Full Gear is in November. So if they're going to do something like that, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, who knows what happens tonight on Rampage? But and before we get to Punk and Darby, the question is who debuts? I say Adam Cole. Andrade comes out and throws a bitch fit about Pac not being able to wrestle. He challenges someone. Out comes Adam Cole. That'd be my prediction. Any other thoughts on debuts? I know we just kind of touched on it with the Kenny Omega match, but anybody got one?
If that happens with Adam Cole, I would probably squeal like a little schoolgirl in Brian's backyard in parts unknown.
That's right.
Not in Michigan.
Not in Michigan. Not in my hometown.
I feel like there has to be a debut because this is going to be
there has to be big.
This is going to be their biggest pay-per-view. Like CM Punk is going to need more people to order the pay-per-view, especially in Chicago. So this will get more eyes on Wednesday nights and Friday. So yeah, I think it's got to be a big debut. And as much as I love Adam Cole, he's not big enough to be the debut. It should be Daniel Bryan.
He would be big in the world's biggest indie, which AEW now is.
Right.
I think it would fit.
I think Bryan Danielson should be the one.
Hey, I believe it. I mean, either one. Shit. I mean, I really feel like too, there's going to be more. I think the Iconics could show up. I mean, now I think they're the inspiration now with two eyes. They showed some tits and ass picture the other day on Twitter. I think they're the inspiration.
Where is it?
Do not share your screen. Who knows? But I left this one on purpose. CM Punk, Darby Allin. Brian, we'll start with you. What do you think is going to happen?
I think CM Punk wins. I do think this will be a long match. And that's the big question, is just at 42 years old and off for 7 years, can CM Punk still go? And I like that they've played that into the story. And you know, that Darby is insane. He's absolutely insane. So he's going to make Punk look like $1 million because he's probably going to, you know, do who knows what. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything funny to say.
Joe?
Yeah, it's going to be great. I think I'm really excited for it.
Joe?
It's going to be Punk. It has to be. It's his home crowd. It's his first match back. I don't know if he does still got it, but I mean, at least he's retired from MMA right now, so he doesn't have that lingering in the back of his head.
That's funny. That's
Shocking,
actually pretty
yes.
funny.
And by the way, I'm announcing my retirement from NASCAR. Apparently, driving over 80 miles per hour, being scared of that is not good for that sport. So I'm going to retire from NASCAR. That's my announcement right now.
You should have left it alone.
I should have.
You should have left it alone.
I went too far.
Kevin?
I will say this. CM Punk, at 42, I think he will have an incredible match versus Darby. Yes, he's been away for 7 years, but he has lost one. He's 1-1, 1-0 contest, but he's in incredible shape because he's been training for MMA. He's in incredible shape. He's coming out like he looks fit. He's always been a smaller frame guy, but Darby is even smaller frame. So, Brian, you mentioned Darby will help CM Punk look great. Perfect. CM Punk. He's not a huge guy, not going to whip him around, but Darby whips himself around and takes the beatings as some of the bumps. I think CM Punk's going to come out, of course, has to get the victory, but Darby's going to look so good, like inching towards, is he going to win? Is he going to win? Is he going to win? CM Punk will definitely win. I want this match. I said Britt's going to go 5 minutes. I want this match to go close to 25, longest match of the night, because I feel like this match will be match of the night.
I'm going to say Darby Allin wins.
You're on drugs.
I am not.
Unlike CM Punk, who's straight edge.
Yeah.
I am not on drugs. I don't want this to turn into, I'm CM Punk. I'm here to wrestle all the young guys. Every interview I heard this week, he said the following. I'm like Terry Funk in ECW at this point. I don't want it to be like that. We all want Punk MJF. We all want Punk Cody, Punk Kenny. And because of all those things we want, we're going to discuss the 5 not so obvious matches we want to see CM Punk in this week's 5 count.
That Wrestling Podcast presents the 5 count.
How's that for a fucking transition? All right, it is the 5 count. And like I said, we all want to see the great CM Punk matches against the established talent in AEW. But this is the 5 not so obvious matches we want to see CM Punk have in AEW. And we will start with Brian.
Hey, thanks. All right. Number 5. How about we go with Pac? I think Pac, since he started in AEW, really good on mic, just he brings a level of intensity and a level of seriousness that I never saw from him in WWE. I think they could do some good stuff together. It's my number 5. My number 4, I think this guy has really shown a lot of improvement since he debuted. I'm going with Wardlow. I think Wardlow is in a great spot with MJF and Punk, thinking about some of his big WWE feuds with Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, bigger guys. And so I think Wardlow and him could have some good chemistry, thinking back to some of those matches where Punk would be the smaller of the two. My number 3 is Andrade. Quick side note. I'm really, maybe it's a victim of bad luck, but has he wrestled more than one match in AEW since he debuted?
I don't think so.
What is going on?
I have a feel. I'm guessing Pac has COVID. I'm guessing that's why. Or maybe Pac didn't want to lose, which could be a whole nother thing. Because I've heard he has had a pretty bad attitude about that type of stuff in the past. So who knows? But no, I don't think I think Andrade's only had maybe 1, maybe 2 matches.
He's had more managers than matches.
More
Guerreros than matches. But nevertheless, we know how good he is in the ring. And his look right now of the suits and the sunglasses, he looks like $1 million. Yeah. So I'm sure they would do some great stuff together. My number 2 is kind of a playoff of my number 4. I think the best big man all around in AEW is Lance Archer. And I think him and Punk could do some great stuff. Again, thinking back to that big man, smaller man dynamic. My number 1. Ooh, I would love to see this because I haven't heard a peep about this and the relationship with him and this guy. Colt Cabana. Hi, Colt Cabana. How you doing? What's going on? They had lawsuits against each other, right? I want to know what's going on. And you could turn that into some good on-screen back and forth. Yeah. There's a lot of personal history there. I don't know if they're on good terms or bad terms. I'd love to see that. That's my number 1.
Great. So I have number 5, Brian Cage. With my recent feelings that I am sick of CM Punk already, the idea of Punk getting tossed around by Brian Cage really excites me. I think that could be a fun match. Number 4, Eddie Kingston. The back and forth promos would be killer. The idea of Mox maybe being at ringside, could eventually turn into something down the road, but we all want that. Number 3, Scorpio Sky. Now, I've said from the beginning of AEW, Sky should have been in the main event picture. He had a great match with Jericho when he was champ. And then he's kind of floundered ever since. I like what he's doing with Ethan Page now. But I think that Sky and Punk, it'll never headline a pay-per-view, but give me 17.5 on Dynamite. I am all in for that. Number 2, Andrade. I love Andrade. I think him and Punk would be great. But what sucks is Andrade doesn't speak English very well. So the promo stuff would be one-sided. And Chavo Guerrero's not hanging with CM Punk. He's just not. So... and then finally, of course, number 1, Colt Cabana, former best friend, lawsuits, countersuits. The story writes itself. And, Punk did say in the debut, some scores to settle in the locker room. So who knows what that could be. Joe, go ahead. What do you got?
All right. My number 5 is your number 4, Eddie Kingston. The promos alone are worth it. For me, Kingston just sells everything, and he brings a realism to it. That's why I'm all in for Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk or anybody. Number 4 brings him back just for a pay-per-view because he's too dangerous for TNT. Nick Gage.
Oh my!
I want to see him come back and just carve up CM Punk. I want to carve him up and stick a ice cream bar in his ear or something, or use a stick for anything. I don't care.
Move along. Nothing to see here. Go ahead.
Number 3, not a part of AEW, but could be Tommaso Ciampa. Could be. If they're going with the whole thing, that's why I said I was going a little bit out of left field on that one. That's my number 3. It's my only non-AEW guy on the list. But I would love to see that match because I think that would be killer too. Number 2, Brian, you said it. It was your number 2, Lance Archer. I think I miss Lance Archer on TV. I know that he's doing the New Japan thing right now, but I really want to see him back. And I want to see him back without Jake Roberts. But if he does have Jake Roberts, Jake's Demons with CM Punk with Lance Archer would be pretty good television. And number 1, Malachi Black.
One thing I forgot to talk about during the All Out preview. How is Malachi Black not on this pay-per-view? Ridiculous.
Who can possibly fit him in when you got QT Marshall and Paul White? My goodness. No room for that.
Kevin, what do you got?
Number. I do like going last, by the way. I will volunteer to go last for the next several weeks because I like enjoying listening to you
heard
guys.
It here first.
And I like comparing my notes and just thinking, in different things. Number 5, very similar to 2 of you guys. I put Colt Cabana. I thought of that pipe bomb, and I was like, you know what? I really don't know much of the indie stuff of CM Punk and different things. I don't know if they wrestled that much against each other. I'm guessing a lot over the years. Just I feel like Colt Cabana's kind of just been lost in the Dark Order a little bit. Like he's there just, hey, I'm here type of thing. I feel like, you know what I mean? Yes, it won't main event a big pay-per-view, but yes, it could be a fun lead up to something. Number 4, no one said it before during your guys' 5 counts. I really like this guy. He's so athletic. He's funny. Brian hates him. Orange Cassidy. I feel like just hearing CM Punk in some of the promos talking to him, and Orange Cassidy just standing there, CM Punk getting frustrated, Orange Cassidy just standing there. Like, I just feel like it could be very entertaining. Number 3, Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix is so good in the ring. And I was back and forth. I'm like, do I put Penta? Do I put Rey? Do I put Penta? I wanted to put both. It's 3 and 2, but I decided not to. I'd rather see Rey Fenix versus CM Punk, just because Rey's so fast. I want to see if CM Punk can keep up with him in the ring. Number 2, Jungle Boy. Very similar to my reasonings for Rey Fenix. I feel like Jungle Boy is one of those guys, just like Darby. I feel like CM Punk is going to take Darby to another level. Darby's already so high. I feel like CM Punk's going to take him to another level. Jungle Boy is greatly improved. When AEW first came on, I saw him. I'm just like, really? This guy, is he really that good? And then over the course of 100 episodes, they just celebrated their 100th episode, on TV. He's so damn good. So I feel like I really would like to see a program with him and have him, improve on his promo skills. Because if you're going to go into a match with CM Punk, it's not just a one-on-one match of athleticism in that ring. You got to go toe to toe on that microphone. So I would really like to see Jungle Boy improve on those skills. And number 1 on my list, this guy doesn't need any improving on the skills. He doesn't need any improving on the ring. MJF is usually on my top 5 on any 5 count. That is one I salivate over because I could just the promos leading up to it. Both of them standing each other in the ring, seeing MJF and CM Punk being like, I used to be like you. I wanted everything. And MJF just throwing it back and being like, I do have everything.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. The CM Punk was nothing like MJF.
No, not to the point.
We all knew that's one of the matches we wanted to.
Yeah, that doesn't follow the rules.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to throw the
we all would have put
one
MJF
because that would have been in my real top 5. Right? I'm throwing the
my number 1 would be Kenny Omega.
Right.
Holding
on, Kevin, 10-yard penalty. That's all right. Still first down.
CM Punk didn't have a family, and he had an adopted family that were his friends were his family. MJF, silver spoon, all the money, Burberry scarf. They are nothing alike. Flag on the play.
Heel. Kevin Heel.
The guy that never takes a side.
But as number 6, I did have Powerhouse Hobbs, FYI, just for the fact where he's kind of on the level up. And Jay, I kind of agreed with you with your cage comments, just manhandling.
Yeah. Well, even though Kevin did not follow the rules this week, that is this week's 5 count.
Who made your 5 count? Let us know on social media using the hashtag TWP5count.
Another week in the books. Don't forget, Sunday is All Out. Make sure to follow us on social media at thatwrestlepod. There might be some videos, some pictures. We are actually going to hang out and watch a pay-per-view in the same place for the first time in a year and a half. Don't forget, Pro Wrestling Tees also has a sale this Labor Day weekend. We 20% off, free shipping over $150, and we'll see if we make Kevin purchase that Britt Baker shirt. Finally, thanks for listening. Thanks, guys, for hanging out this week. Thanks to Dangerous Darren for the voiceover. We are waiting for the music. Then we will talk to you next week on That Wrestling Podcast.
Thanks for listening. Follow That Wrestle Pod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
1, 2, 3, that's it!